All right, theme song. 3, 2. And welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Episode 302 of this podcast that you forgot you were subscribed to. Again, if you like it. Oh my God, the theme song started over again. Then tell your friends. If you want to see a video version of the show, if you want to see me lunging towards the iPad, then check it out. Check it out on youtube.com/cpluscomedy. The reason why the theme song started over is not a big story, not a big deal. Spotify for podcasters updated so that it no longer is a place where you can make the podcast. Great, whatever. The soundboard is what I use the entire time, the library, the sound library, and that's where I had the theme songs, and now it's gone. Now I have to use GarageBand and figure out a way so I can have a soundboard thing on here. There's no good soundboard apps. They all take payments, in-app payments. I don't do subscriptions. I'm sick of it. I already have enough video subscriptions and Game Pass. I'm done. No more subscriptions. It's ridiculous. And one Patreon and one other podcast. So that's enough. And my hookers. Just kidding. Not even a hooker would touch me. What's been going on? I left. Right now, if you hear the TV on, I'm watching the Olympics. I saw the USA. And, I was sat here with my flag, waving it high, screaming, chanting USA, USA. And I said, get out of our country if you don't chant. The people walking by my apartment. Garage. People were parking, coming home. I said, get out of here if you don't believe in the United States, man. I saw a beautiful Lady Gaga singing. I would leave my family for her. My family right now is a cat and a dog. So I guess I'll go with us. She has 2 dogs, and we can live a nice, happy life. I could be a good trophy husband. I left the movie Twisters before that. And I don't review movies. I had a great time with the Twister moments. I can't say the same about watching Daisy Edgar Jones and Glenn Powell. If I wanted to watch 2 white people date, I would watch The Bachelor. Oh my gosh. I think it also, they gave some, basically at the end of the movie, they're, not the end, at one of the, what's it called? Climaxes. There's a couple climaxes in this movie. And one of them, they made it seem like Anthony Ramos' character was in love with Daisy Edgar Jones. No, they just treat him as best friends. This movie should have been about her. What happens at the beginning? She accidentally, there's 5 people on her team, including Anthony Ramos. And her and Anthony Ramos survive a tornado. The other 3 die. And she has PTSD from it. That's what it should have been about, her getting over that, instead of her falling in love with this guy, Glenn Powell. It's so annoying. I just want to see a movie about tornadoes. Twisters, as they call them. Man, the Twister stuff was great. There's not one point where I was bored during that. It was fantastic. And this movie was short, too. I think it was only 100 and some odd minutes long. Let's see how long it was. 2 hours and 2 minutes. Got in there, there was a nice $5 offer going on for a small popcorn and an icy. I got myself an icy. I also had half of an energy drink before I got in because I did not have one this morning, and I knew I would fall asleep if I did not have an energy drink. Had that icy, immediately had to pee. I didn't want to get up. I finished it off, ran to my car, ran home. I got home in 7 minutes. That doesn't matter. Who cares? And also, That's it. What else is going on? Oh, I started Big Brother 26. It's fantastic so far. Nice, diverse cast. And I believe I was spoiled as to, I have not seen the latest episode. I believe I was spoiled as to who was voted out. The first one voted out. Also, I like, this is one of my biggest issues with Big Brother and these game shows. I love Survivor. I love Amazing Race. I like Big Brother. I don't want to watch people date. If I wanted to watch a dating show, I'd watch a dating show. I like the fact that we're competing. I don't want, they shouldn't, I understand why they cast people who are like, oh, I'm single, blah, blah, blah. That's not the point for me. Showmances are boring. I don't care what happens at the end. I want to see people stab each other in the back. There's a show on Netflix called Owning Manhattan. It's about Ryan Searhunt, who and his team of real estate agents, how they're the number 6 company in New York for real estate, and he wants to be number 1, obviously. That show took me by surprise, mostly because it's not a reality show about real estate. It's a real estate agents and their lives. It's a reality show about real estate. It's a show about them truly trying to sell these extravagant properties in New York, in Manhattan, in Brooklyn. And that's why the show works. And there's only there's one point in the first episode where we go see Ryan and his wife and his child. I don't care about that. I fast forwarded through that. I only want to watch these people. All the drama comes from them, like all the infighting of like, you can't sell this place. You're not gonna be able to do it. And like all the, like, that's what I want. All right, I've been talking for 7 minutes. Let's go on. This first one comes from Eurogamer. This comes from Matt Wales. Humble Games confirms restructuring amid reports all staff have been laid off. This story changed so many times in the 24 hours that it happened. The Humble Games, which is the publishing division of the digital storefront Humble Bundle, decided to lay off everybody, but it wasn't shutting down. Humble Bundle produced games Stray Gods, which I just bought, Slay the Spire, Unpacking. It was formed in 2017, and I'm guessing those games just not did. Well, title of the episode. I'm guessing those games didn't do as well as Humble would have wanted. First of all, Humble probably shouldn't be publishing games. You're a company that donates a lot of your money to nonprofits. You sell these bundles and you take a portion and then you give the rest to the nonprofit. Let's not let this happen. They followed that up by saying the restructuring will see the brand's current projects completed by a third-party video games consultancy firm. And apparently, this comes from Humble Bundle creative lead Chris Radley, as he wrote on LinkedIn. I want it to be made abundantly clear. This is not a restructuring of operations. This is a total shutdown of Humble Games. Operations have been handed off to a third-party consultancy. No staff are left. Okay. At some point, people suggested that Ziff Davis's statement regarding Humble Games. Ziff Davis is the company that owns Humble, as well as IGN and several other several other things, companies, whatever. They suggested that the statement that was released by them was written by AI. Posting on a social media platform, X, Michael Deuce, director of publishing at Baldur's Gate studio, Larian, also suggested the statement had been AI generated. And people just kind of ran with that. Followed by Humble Games denying that they used AI to write yesterday's statement, the day's statement before. It's crazy. I don't understand why they attempted to do this in the first place. It just doesn't make sense to me. It is a shame that in the gaming industry, we are seeing, along with the entertainment industry, I mean the film and television industry, we're just seeing layoffs left and right, and there's no answer to it except that hopefully more things will be made, more games, more movies, more TV shows, more whatever, shorts, whatever. These more projects need to be made. This next one comes from Variety, written by Brian Steinberg. NBC bets big on NBA for streaming era bounce. Now, this is a story that comes into two for the second part. Will come in a hot second. 3 different media companies, NBC, Disney, and Amazon, won new 11-year rights deals for the NBA this past week. NBC Universal in late 2025 will devote 3 full nights a week to NBA play during the league season, 2 of which will be on NBC's broadcast platform, NBC. And 1 of them will be exclusive to Peacock, much like their Saturday night games, I believe they had. Was that? Yeah, that was them. Amazon has Thursday Night Football, and then ABC's got the rest. Or excuse me, basketball. I'm thinking about football right now. I was truly thinking about the football world. Amazon is the new member alongside NBC, but this will be Amazon's first time doing this. This is not the first time. NBC lost it in 2002. To bring the NBA back to NBC will have to cut back on the dramas, comedies, and reality programs it's put on its broadcast schedule, which will now be devoted to Sunday night basketball following the end of the NFL season and the unique doubleheader each Tuesday night. NBC will broadcast an 8 p.m. Eastern game on stations in the Eastern and Central time zones and a later game on stations in the Mountain and Pacific time zones. Peacock will stream both games live and also stream games on Monday nights. NBC had already been seemingly cutting back on dramas. They moved Law and Order, Organized Crime over to Peacock. They at one point in the past couple of years, they were mulling over giving the 10 p.m. hour back to affiliates around the nation, which would mean no more 10 p.m. shows. So that means Monday through Thursday, the 8 to 11 would just be 8 to 10, the primetime hours, which are the hours where you make your money as a broadcast station. NBC Sports is likely to air a 1-hour pregame show on Sunday nights, so that means 7 to 10:30, 11 o'clock, more or less. And while it's easy to guess that it might take the form of Football Night in America, the lead into Sunday Night Football, that is one of the nation's most watched programs, the executives say that no talent plans are finalized. Mike Tirico and Noah Eagle have long been viewed as top play-by-play candidates for basketball, but NBC has declined to comment. Now, this comes with the breath that at some point last week or early this week, Warner Brothers wanted to stay in on the basketball action, which unfortunately is not going to happen. They tried to match the bid of Amazon's rights at $1.8 billion. But Adam Silver and the NBA said no. Adam Silver is the commissioner of the NBA. This comes from Deadline, written by Jill Goldsmith. NBA loss sinks Warner Brothers Discovery stock. Bad for Max, could hasten linear decline, Wall Street fears. Warner Brothers fell about 8% in the market following the announcement of NBA's Big Three deal. I think David Zaslav is going to. I think they just today filed a lawsuit against NBC or the NBA, and NBC was like, "What are you doing?" No, it's crazy. And also, they also announced this week. Warner announced that there's a new bundle with Disney Plus, with Disney Plus and Hulu. Not ESPN Plus. I was looking at that bundle and I was thinking $30 for Disney Plus, Hulu, and Max with no commercials. That's perfect. If it had ESPN Plus, I'd be all over it. But there's a reason it doesn't have ESPN Plus, because they're gonna A, come out with the ESPN streaming platform next year, and B, this new joint venture between Fox, WB, and WBD and Disney is coming out at some point later this year. WBD is apparently trading at, let me see if this is true, under $8, which sounds insane to me. $8.31. Oh my goodness. That's just 2 years after the Warner Brothers Media Discovery deal. Apparently there are calls for David Zaslav to split the company or merge it with somebody else. It's already too big. I would never want that company to merge anybody else. That's crazy. Whatever's happening at Warner is being. I think Zaslav is detrimental to the company, and he's just. And this is not something new, but he's just ruining everything, and he's making this company seem like it's nothing. He's really trivializing what should be one of the best media companies in the world. If not number one, then number two. It should be fighting for number two against Disney. Instead, it's damn near in the back of the pack. And it's only to be outdone in how bad it is by Paramount. At some point, NBC Universal will be down there too. Longtime NBA rights holder WBD had matching rights built into its contract and did match Amazon's streaming package, the least costly of the three, but the NBA declared without elaborating that it was not a match, possibly because of the greater reach of the massive e-commerce and entertainment giant, and closed the deal with Amazon. And that's when WBD decided to file the lawsuit and point fingers. But when you look at Amazon Prime, all the people, how many people subscribe to Amazon Prime? Hundreds of millions of people. Let's say 300 million, 350 million people. Let me just see. Amazon Prime subscribers. 230. I was close. I said 300 and then I went, let's go 350. If 230 million people subscribe to Amazon Prime, let's pretend 100 million of them use not just the shipping and the buying and the purchasing stuff, but they also use, what is my thumbs down? But they also use the Amazon Prime video section. So they use Prime Video, 100 million. And then let's even say 50 million of them are interested in sports. And then 30 million of them are interested in football. So that leaves 20 million interested in basketball, you know? Well, these are just numbers I'm throwing out there. But Prime has a greater reach than Max, which can only... I'm going to go ahead and throw a number out there and say 20 million. I'll say 100 million. I'll say 100 million subscribers. Okay. I don't know how to spell things anymore. 100 million. They're at 996 as of May. Boom. But the fact that Warner could not keep these rights and getting rid, I truly think getting rid of the HBO name kind of ruined it. But HBO Max is you can find it everywhere. You can subscribe to it on Hulu. You can subscribe to it by itself. You can subscribe to it on YouTube TV and Prime. When you water down a brand, and I just mentioned this on Late Night Lately talking about CNN, when you water down a brand, you lose sight of what that brand used to be and what it could be. You can take let's take CNN. Zaslav wanted the left of center approach to be more center of center or more right of center. I'm just saying. He wants it to be that more neutral, that ice water, that vanilla. And while ice water and vanilla are good, let's add some flavor to that stuff. Let's add some pizzazz to it. Warner Brothers, Max is nothing. HBO Max is everything. The book about HBO paints such a wide and engrossing picture of what it took to get that company up and running. And it's not a good story. Like, it's the people that did things were misogynist, they were sexist, and it took sports to really change HBO around. It took boxing and everything. Those are two separate thoughts. The misogynist and sexist and the sports. And the idea that you take away HBO from Max and you get rid of shows and let movies get off the service and you just have this husk, this skeleton of a streaming platform, and you complain that it costs so much to run, even though you're charging $20 to access 4K, it just doesn't make sense. And I'm going to misquote Rocky Balboa here in the movie Rocky Balboa when he's talking to his son Milo Ventimiglia, which I have this saved in a YouTube playlist called Believe the Hype, which is a hype playlist I use for workout sometimes. It's got Creed, it's got Rocky, and Any Given Sunday Speech from Al Pacino. What else does it have? I think that's pretty much it. But you can't go around pointing your fingers saying you aren't where you are because of him or her or anybody. That's what cowards do, and that's not you. And to look at where HBO Max was when it launched, when it was at its height. And yes, it was bugging and all this, but it was still a place you wanted to go. And then now it's owned by Discovery, and it's just this place where you see a bunch of short people dating shows on TLC. Or a pimple popping doctor, she's a dermatologist. It stinks. It sucks. That's not what it should be. This next one comes from The Verge, written by Jess Weatherbed. Apple's original content spending spree might finally be over. This is something that I had to push from last week. According to Bloomberg, Apple's senior vice president of services, Eddie Q, is pushing studio chiefs Zach Van Amberg and Jamie Ehrlich to oversee project budgets more closely in a bid to make its Apple TV Plus streaming business more sustainable. At some point, when Apple TV launched, it was said that they set aside $1 billion in cash. I think they set aside $1 billion to make movies and TV shows, and they took and I'll say this about Apple, they take things from other companies a lot of the time, and they either it's basically the same or it works. In case in point, things like wireless charging or bezel-less phones, whatever. Sometimes it's the better version of it. Sometimes it's not. But the fact that they made Apple TV Plus and they trickled things out. They made shows come out slowly. They made movies come out slowly. And in that case, take away and I'm sorry. In that case, from the outs, as somebody who has every streaming platform, it really made it seem like it was something that should be coveted. Mostly because I watched, shows and movies that felt like they were special because it felt like they took their time. And Apple spent $500 million on movies like Killers of the Flower Moon, Argyle, and Napoleon. And none of those movies did well at the box office. And only two of them were up for Oscars, and only one of them was up for multiple Oscars. They get a lot of attention during award seasons. Bloomberg reports that Apple TV Plus is attracting fewer views per month than Netflix averages in a single day. According to figures reported by Nielsen, Apple TV Plus accounts for 0.2%. That's 0.2% of U.S. TV views, which is dwarfed by Netflix's 8%. As it struggles to encroach on Netflix's viewership figures, Apple is now quicker to cancel its original series projects compared to when Apple TV Plus first launched in 2019. If they were at the point, okay, it costs a lot of money. I know I just lambasted David Zaslav for making Max a skeleton of what it should be what it is, but the problem is this comparison to Netflix, this idea that we are going to put out a streaming platform and it's going to become the next Netflix when it's not. You're not. Let's say you're not Disney. Only Disney was going to be the company that could even come within spitting distance of Netflix. I've been a Netflix subscriber since 2007. Excuse me, 2006. They started streaming in 2007, I think. That is my oldest subscription. My second oldest is Hulu. I've had that since 2008, I believe. But the fact that you are comparing your platform to the top, I hate saying this word, content making platform ever, and it will be. And I don't care how many, yes, YouTube is free and people watch it. Netflix is the thing that everyone has or has had or will have. But they do cancel everything. It's a shame that it has to come to ideas like this. Apple should have known that it was going to be tough for them. They came in I feel as though the company came in with the same attitude, the bravado that they have with their phones. Oh, people buy our phones, they're going to love this Apple TV product. That's not the case. Loot is enjoyable, but it's not something that people are running to all the time. And the fact that the idea also is that people have to run to your platform and stay there. People stay on Netflix, not just because it has, Seinfeld or Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, which no one subscribed to this. I love Crazy Ex-Girlfriend I hate ranking things, definitely the top 5 of my favorite shows ever that have ever existed. But no one's running to Netflix to go see that. They're running to see Stranger Things. They're running to see Love is Blind, Vikings Valhalla. I don't know if that's true. That last one, I really don't know if that's true. But they're staying for Seinfeld. They're staying for Aliens. They're staying for things that they recognize and they love. Whereas at Apple, they just a couple of months ago, they started introducing acquired programming and acquired movies that they only keep for, it feels like, a month at a time. But that's what they do. That's what Netflix does, and that's why people stay with them. For Apple, the only reason people are going to stay is A, because they forgot they subscribed, B, because they do the Apple One program, C, because they bought an Apple product and a new iPad and they have 3 free months. That's the only reason people will stay. The reason I stay is because I enjoy... Oh, I linked the wrong thing. I enjoy a lot of the Apple products, and I do think that they make a lot of the Apple products, a lot of the Apple TV products, excuse me. And I do think that they make a good product. All right. This final story, I am so pissed that I deleted the link, and now I'm going to try to link it up to the right link. This comes from The Hollywood Reporter. SAG-AFTRA, written by Eric Hayden. SAG-AFTRA calls strike against major video game studios. Major video game studios? How I Met Your Mother. I love that show. For close to 2 years, SAG-AFTRA has been in talks with major video game companies on a new contract agreement you got to watch the video, that would cover voice and performance captures on titles from Disney character voices, Activision Blizzard, Warner Brothers Games, Electronic Arts, Insomniac Games, and others. Now, The union's chief negotiator, Duncan Crabtree Ireland, has called a strike. It's more or less the same thing that's happened with the other SAG strike last year. The move has been signaled for nearly a year. We knew this was coming. If you follow along in this world, you knew this was coming at some point. Last September, nearly 35,000 of the union's members voted to authorize a strike, with 98% of members in favor, against the major video game companies over the agreement, giving SAG-AFTRA's leadership the leeway to call a work stoppage. The contract expired in November of 2022. The union has been operating on a month-to-month basis with companies. Why are they doing this? To fight against AI, to get decent payments. It's all the same thing. These companies, EA, Activision makes so much money from Call of Duty, and now it's going to be Microsoft. Microsoft's going to make so much money from Call of Duty, even if it's a bad Call of Duty. Disney makes so much money from its games. Insomniac made a crap ton of money from Marvel Spider-Man 2, a game I own and I beat in the last couple of weeks. I'm so happy because I don't beat games anymore because I keep buying them and I go, I'll put this away for now. It's very true. Last night I was playing the Steam Deck and I was playing Simpsons Road Rage. I could play any game on Steam Deck, more or less. There's a lot of games I can't play, but I could play any game, most games I own. And I went to the emulator section and I started playing Simpsons Road Rage. The problem is they found common ground on 24 out of 25 proposals, including historic wage increases and additional safety provisions. The thing is, this comes from Audrey Cooling, a rep for the video game producers bargaining with the union. Their offer is directly responsive to SAG-AFTRA's concerns and extends meaningful AI protections that include requiring consent and fair compensation to all performers working under the IMA. She says that their terms are strongest in the industry. But the SAG-AFTRA says, the video game arm of SAG-AFTRA, but SAG-AFTRA says, hey, that's not true. On July 20th, SAG-AFTRA's national board voted to give authority to Crabtree Ireland call a strike. At the time, the union said it was, quote, far apart on resolution of necessary terms covering critical AI protections for the video game performers. And again, that's something that was big for the actors' versions. We just don't want to. We don't want to have We don't want to have replicated Nolan Norths or Troy Bakers or Laura Baileys or whomever all over the video game industry. You shouldn't. They need protections. Actors need protections. And yeah, just because they agreed on 24 out of 25 doesn't mean that they would kowtow. Doesn't mean they would bend over for that last one. So a strike is needed until they get respect that they deserve. I see a headline for something that I really want to watch. Put up the videos. It's Francis Ford Coppola, the videos of him kissing extras on the Megalopolis set. I have got to see these videos. All right, listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see me talk to famous people sometimes. And you can also see a video version of the show on youtube.com/cpluscomedy. You can see a video version of the other podcasts, the Late Night Lately, which is the late night show, and LinkedIn Logs, which is the Jobs podcast, over there on youtube.com/cpluscomedy. Subscribe to those shows wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at @cpluscomedy. Follow me on those platforms at Chad Black White. Thank you. Goodbye.